But playing video games, an activity that seems harmless and fun on the surface, could turn into a deep and dark addiction. Gaming addiction, or gaming disorder as it's being called by the medical community, has now been classified as an actual mental disorder. And now it's becoming a growing concern in India. How worrying is this trend? What should parents do if they're dealing with gaming-obsessed children? Milan Sharma and Santiago Ra find this out for us.
These boys may appear to be behaving like any 12-year-olds. But one conversation with them and their obsession with gaming comes to the fore. They know the latest games. There is pressure to surpass high scores of their peers, and they are glued to their screen for hours. These children have now come to a center in Delhi to help them get rid of their gaming addiction. Children as young as 12 have developed an addiction to new age games like Candy Crush, Mini Militia and many others. What starts as a harmless activity is becoming very dangerous.
The World Health Organization has called online gaming a mental disorder. But not just that, in a shocking revelation, it also says that now gaming is as addictive as substances like cocaine. And a rising number of instances of online gaming has definitely become a worrisome trend.
There are several warning signs that are often ignored by parents. But these symptoms need to be identified to get rid of any signs of addiction at the earliest. In severe cases, children also resort to violence, depression, or even self-harm.
जब भी मेरा मन होता है कर लेता हूँ. जब तक बोर्ड नहीं होता मैं तब तक मैं करते रहता हूँ. और मैं मोबाइल लैपटॉप किसी पे भी खेल लेता हूँ. बस.
और जैसे पेरेंट्स मना करते हैं आपको गेम खेलने से?
हाँ, जब मैं पढ़ाई छोड़ के खेलने लग जाता हूँ.
कम से कम अगर ज़्यादा खेलना पड़े तो 3-4 घंटे तो खेल लो.
हर रोज़?
हाँ, हर रोज़.
और इससे खेलना बंद कर दो अगर, तो आप पार्क में भी जाके खेल सकते हैं. हाँ. गेम खेलना ज़रूरी है?
हाँ.
क्यों?
क्योंकि उसमें खेलने में मज़ा भी आता है और उससे बोर भी नहीं होते. तो फिर इसलिए गेम खेलना ज़रूरी है.
बहुत आता है पर बाहर के गेम में कुछ नहीं आता.
बाहर के गेम में मतलब?
इस फुटबॉल इंसान में मज़ा नहीं आता.
Suddenly now what we are seeing, these games are online and it is in continue. You know, you have certain kind of a level, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and there is some kind of urge in these children that they want to achieve everything. They want to come this level and that level. That is a reason it is very dangerous.
With a gaming parlor in every corner and increasing penetration of the internet, children's addiction to gaming can also be attributed to a feeling of loneliness or alienation. And in some cases, they need to find solace in a virtual world when they feel threatened by reality.
Talking about the reasons why youngsters become gaming addicts, experts believe that sense of loneliness, alienation and dejection are some of the reasons. Sometimes addiction can also be an offshoot of family tensions. Under such circumstances, youngsters take an escape route to this virtual world created by them.
Experts are concerned that children as young as 3 are dependent on smartphones and gadgets, therefore greatly advocating for a digital detox. Psychiatrists also advise parents to check how much time their children spend playing video games and also look out for any sudden behavioral changes.
I think we are seeing it more and more younger children as well, starting not just the gaming but the screen time, starting as young as 3 years. You can see people on the screen, but the gaming disorder per se gets more as you go into the adolescent stage, because they have more freedom, they have more time, they have a little bit of money on their hand to utilize. So I think in the age group of 16 onwards, we are seeing this as a big problem.
To prevent, the parents should pass quality time with the children. That is very important.
At a time when India's online gaming industry is poised to grow at $1 billion by 2021, those in the business feel that the problem of addiction is more in developed countries than India. But it's equally important for gaming developers to act responsibly and not use this trend to capitalize on their own growth.
For children particularly, ensuring that they limit the time on what they spend on screens definitely will go a long way to ensuring that India doesn't fall into, the trap of, creating addiction through gaming. As a gaming industry, we definitely are going to take enough action, enough kind of initiative to build about awareness around this becoming a potential problem, and encouraging all gaming companies to take the necessary steps that can, enable the gamers to really relish and enjoy the game for what the game has built, and not really become a liability or problem.
While compulsive video gaming causes several mental impairments, but addiction to deadly games like the Blue Whale Challenge has even claimed lives of young teenagers. It is important to understand that all gamers are not addicts, but one has to maintain a balance to resolve these issues.
मैं खेलता हूँ 6-7 घंटा, बट
रोजाना
रोजाना 6-7 घंटा तो खेलता हूँ, बट अगर जब उसको एडिक्ट नहीं बनाना है तो दूसरा काम में भी थोड़ा ध्यान देना पड़ता है. अगर जब घुस के खेलो तो आपका ध्यान मतलब आप खत्म ही समझो. एडिक्ट मतलब एडिक्ट.
While we live in an increasingly digital world, the influence of technology on children cannot be ignored. With the WHO also classifying gaming disorder as a mental illness, it is vital to have a meaningful conversation and safeguard children from getting obsessed and trapped in the virtual world. With Milan Sharma in New Delhi and Santya Gora in Mumbai, Shayan Sheikh for Mirror Now.
Well, we're slipping into a very quick break, but our discussion on gaming addiction continues on the other side of this break. We'll tell you what the experts have to say on this. Playing video games seems harmless and fun on the surface, but it could turn into a deep and a dark addiction. Gaming addiction, or a gaming disorder as it's being called by the medical fraternity, has now been classified as an actual mental disorder, and now it's becoming a growing concern in the country. In fact, Milan Sharma, who researched on the story and got us this report, is now joining us live. Milan, take us through what you found out when you spoke to people, when you spoke to children who are addicted to games, and how it's coming out to be this growing concern in the country. How rampant is this addiction, and what's the particular age group which is found to be most addicted?
Well, yes, in fact, the WHO has categorized online gaming or gaming in sense as a mental disorder. And what is shocking is the inference of the WHO that also says how gaming is as addictive to the age groups, many age groups, in fact, from children, in fact, in adults as well. And it is as addictive as any substance that is a drug or a cocaine. And this is a kind of mental disorder that the WHO is highlighting, although experts are yet to pinpoint what is the permanent number of people that is seeing a rising trend in gaming addiction. But we know that games such as PUBG and games such as Candy Crush that actually started a trend where people were addicted to such games has now just not just targeted the teenage group. We spoke to a few children from the age groups of about 10 to 15, and they have been going to rehab centers as well. In fact, Neemhans happens to be one such center in Bengaluru that looks at gaming addiction. In Delhi, there are various NGOs that are looking at weaning children away from gaming addiction. They say that it is also because of the pressure made by peers and the fear of missing out of what is trendy at this point of time that makes them play these games. Some of them even shockingly reveal that they have played these games for hours on end, from maybe 6 or 7 hours straight without any parent supervision. Most have even forgotten to eat their meals, and this is leading to a rising trend where children between the age groups of 10 and 15 are doing it, the teenagers above that age group, and even adults who are generally categorized in the category of housewives are also looking at playing video games in their idle time.
Absolutely, Milan. As you mentioned, it's not only the teenagers, children, but adults are also found to be addicted to these online games. Let's understand what this phenomenon is and what kind of people are really drawn to this addiction, which is now being termed by the WHO as a mental disorder. Dr. Sagar Mundada, psychiatrist, joining us now this afternoon here on the discussion. Dr. Sagar, if you could throw some more light on, are there any specific kind of individuals who are drawn to these addictions? And if we speak about children, are parents also to be held responsible for this addiction, for not being able to monitor children enough? What is your assessment?
Right. See, the first thing is that primarily teenagers are addicted to these online games very, very frequently. Having said that, there is an assumption that is being created these days that anybody who goes on to play these online games would someday become an addict. That is entirely wrong. Depending on your basic personality, whether you have a personality which will get hooked onto things, the chances that you will have this gaming addiction or not, primarily we decide. So it's not that everybody who plays these online games is going to keep on doing so for hours together and will forget all the other things. Certain personalities, certain impulsive personalities, certain personalities which do not have any other thing in their life, yes, definitely there are certain people who are more predisposed to becoming addicts. Having said that, there are certain warning signs that parents can look out for rather than just going cold turkey, or rather than just telling their kids that they can't play online games. If the gaming is going to an extent where it is kind of compromising the daily schedule of the child, the daily schedule of the teenager, as in he does not want to go to school, he's forgetting his sleeping times, he is spending more than 7-6 hours every day onto the games, he is not able to focus on anything else. If you kind of stop the game abruptly, the kid really gets very wild, he throws a lot of tantrums, then these are things that you have to be very cautious about and perhaps seek a doctor for it. Apart from that, not everybody who plays these online games necessarily will become an addict.
Right. So what is the way out for parents who are struggling to de-addict their kids, who are addicted to games at this point in time? As you mentioned, there are withdrawal symptoms, they throw tantrums, they'll stop eating food. What is the way out for parents who are struggling at the moment?
The parents have to realize that this is like any other addiction and therefore might require treatment or might require therapy. What parents do not understand is that they feel this is a game, and if they remove the game from the child's vicinity, the child will slowly understand that he can't get it. But it is like any other addiction and therefore requires therapy and treatment. Now, there are many forms of therapy like cognitive behavioral therapy, wherein the child is slowly advised and made to understand himself through counseling that his usage pattern is not normal, that he is going beyond a certain limit, and there has to be some break onto the kind of usage that he is having. Now, this can be done very well by a professional. Parents generally adopt two strategies. Either they'll say, okay, you play whatever you want to, we don't know how to stop you, or they'll just stop the connection. That is not an ideal strategy. The parents must understand that if you have a kid who's smoking, you take him to a doctor and you wean off from the smoke. Similarly, these gaming addictions are like an addiction which affects a certain part of your brain. They affect the pleasure center of your brain, and therefore a little bit of therapy and if required medicines would go a long way in helping these kids wean off these addictions, wean off these games.
Right, Dr. Sagar. So this is an important bit of advice for all those parents who are at the moment looking for ways to de-addict their children who are addicted to games, to seek professional help. Dr. Sagar, continue being with us. Also joining us now, Dr. Shraddha Sidhwani, a psychiatrist here. Thanks, Shraddha, for speaking to Mirror Now this afternoon. Now, are we only to believe that children are the only ones who are addicted to games? Because we understand that gaming is now a full-time profession. And adults as well are found to be addicted, who have full-time jobs, who have responsibilities, as well are found to be addicted to these online games. Now, what about them? Are family members to, be alert, are supposed to be alert and look out for signs such as these? all individuals who believe that they are addicted can also seek help. What about adult addiction? We understand that children are addicted, but there is also a growing concern about adults getting addicted to these games.
Yes, I totally agree. Just to correct you, I'm a psychologist. So yes, adults are also addicted to this game. There are many games on Facebook, on the internet, which are very, very addictive, we have seen a lot of cases even in adults where we're having a lot of sleep issues. There is a lot of insomnia. There's a lot of insomnia with children as well as adults. And along with sleep, you have appetite changes. So yes, of course, it is a very, very big addiction which is taken up with the internet coming in. What we do as therapists is, as Dr. Sagar has also said, that, it is not only important to, criticize the behavior and call it negative. I think what is important for parents to do is, recognize it, that this is an addiction, accept that the child or the adult is involved in it. Once that is done, then there are a lot of therapies that we do, which is cognitive behavioral therapy, where we try to understand, why the child is engaging in this behavior. Is he feeling low? Is he feeling anxious? So if you understand from the whole thing of addiction, it also leads to a lot of social isolation. So that is one of the things that we handle in therapy as well. So we try to connect
All right, Dr. Shraddha,
back to its society.
All right, Dr. Shraddha Sidhwani, pertinent points that are being made by you. We also joined in by Dr. Rajendra Barve, who's a psychiatrist. Dr. Barve, thanks for being with us this afternoon. Now, if you're to understand that professional help is needed, for children who are addicted to games, are there specific signs that parents should look out for? And if you could elaborate on that.
Now, game or internet addiction or dependence is like any other dependence or addiction, like for alcohol or any substance abuse that we see in young adults as well as adults and sometimes in children. So the symptoms are identified only when the person withdraws from the dependence. That means there is irritability, anger, aggression, at times violence, and insistence on having his own time or doing things his own way. And a refusal to accept the reality that he is addicted to it. They resist it and say that things are under my control. Like every dependent person, addict says that things are under my control. These are typical signs and symptoms of any dependence. What is more important and which is usually missed out in the diagnostic categories and in treatment is that drug dependence or game addiction or internet addiction there are many comorbid issues. Now, what is a comorbid issue? Something which is there ongoing along with the dependence problem. That means the child may be having a personality disorder, the child may have maybe severely schizoid, or there could be a dysfunctional family which has caused a considerable amount of withdrawal from the family relationships, or there may be some other pathology in the family, or the child may have other comorbid disorder, or even adults may have comorbid disorder like attention deficit disorder, which is again hello.
Yes, Dr. Barve.
Yeah. A comorbid disorder like attention deficit hyperactivity disorder or plain attention deficit disorder. Now the findings are even in adults, even in the adults, attention deficit disorder is diagnosed many times along with the comorbidity of net addiction or game addiction. So we need to understand the client in entirety and decide what needs to be attended first.
All right, Dr. Rajendra Barve, many thanks for sharing your views here. We also have Santya Gora, who in fact filed this report for us, and Santya joins us now live. Santya, take us through what have been your findings. Now, the experts say that partly, families are also to be held responsible. The growing cases of addiction is also due to social isolation that children are struggling with these days. What in your findings did you get to know through your research, through ways that you spoke to families, Sandhya? If you could just quickly take us through those details.
If we talk about when we spoke to the people, the kids specifically who were impacted, the parents had to say that how initially they could not understand in which direction the kids were heading to, because it all starts, and we also spoke to the experts, the counselors who confirmed that it all starts with an extremely harmless exercise. Kids, they start playing for half an hour, for at best 1 hour, but after some time it turns into addiction, because then kids, they spend like 5 hours, 4 hours, 7 hours, 8 hours, and that's exactly when parents get a clue. And in fact, the behavior of the kids also, it changes, because the kids, they actually isolate themselves from not just the family but also from the friends and other outdoor activities also. All they just want is to play that game. And after that, there are when we spoke to the experts also, they said that how there are negative impacts which are seen, that how kids, they at times they turn violent tendencies are seen in their behavior. Second, they lose interest in any activity apart from gaming. Outdoor games, they do not interest them. They do not take interest in having conversations with their friends and families. They do not play with their friends. So these are the symptoms. And if we talk about the experts, they believe that as soon as parents, they get to see those symptoms, they should first of all try and speak to the kid, and then take help if required.
Right. Sandhya Gora, thanks for getting us those inputs there. So, of course, as we spoke to several of the experts, the parents here need to be extremely alert. They need to look out for initial signs of when their child is becoming more and more addicted to online games, and seek professional help. That's what the advice that's been given out by the experts that we've spoken to in this show. We'll have to leave it at that.